Now look at this. I just got this from the dump. This is a classic. This is a, what, 60s, maybe early 70s Suffolk Punch. This is a proper old one with the cast iron sides. These are cast, and these things weigh a ton. Well, not a ton, but they're very heavy. It had just a centrifugal clutch here, which has a lockout mechanism. You can turn them on and off. And so the only control on these is the throttle. So it literally, you speed the engine up, it centrifugal clutch engages, and it turns the rest of the machine. Being the Punch, it's the 14-inch mower, and you got this luxury item here, which is the like a dog clutch thing to disengage the roller, so you can wheel it around without it turning the blades. So looking at this, it appears to be 99% original. It's got its original fuel tank for the early style on the engine, because the later ones are up here. Metal recoil starter, not the plastic one. Original round exhaust. The later ones had an oval exhaust. In fact, the only thing I can see on this, it's even got the brass fuel tap, the original brass one, which actually seems alright. The only thing I can see that's not original is this air cleaner. This seems to be off a later machine. The original one was a square pressed steel one that pointed down, but possibly one of those is obtainable somewhere. But the rest of it looks absolutely untouched. That's where it came from originally. You could probably tell something from the phone number of how old that is, or you know, whether that dealer's still going or not, who knows. So let's have a look at it. Let's have a look. It's original grass box, which is nice. I can't remember what that would have normally said on there. Something drive, don't know. These front rollers are made of wood. Later machines were plastic. In fact, the later machines are awful things. The later machines had aluminium decks without proper bearings in them. They didn't even have ball bearing up here. They just had a horrible sort of bronze bush which would wear out in no time, and the engines on them were terrible as well. They were an aluminium crankcase, and the piston ran just in the aluminium, and they just wore out in no time at all, as you would imagine. So this is the proper original old school mower, which basically built to last forever. So let's have a look at the blade. It's not bent. Let's check the bearings. Bearings look good. That's not bad so far. There's your adjusters for the clearance. You may want the bottom plate setting up and adjusting. Sorry if you can hear wind blowing in the phone. Well, let's check the oil. It does have some oil. It's a little low, but it's good enough. So the next thing to check would be whether the engine turns, which it does, and then has it got compression. Yes, I can feel compression there. Yeah, there's a good old thud there. Oh, baby. So the next thing to check is for a spark. Now these are little open spark plug cables, so you can test by just holding them near the metal. Now the trick here is to make sure it's closer to the metal than it is to your fingers, or make sure it's less than a mil away from metal, otherwise you could be getting a zap off it if it's working. So let's give it a pull. Right, absolutely nothing. So whether or not that was a fault when it was put away, or whether it's a fault that's developed just from it standing for who knows how many years, remains to be seen, but the problem that would be causing the lack of spark here will be right inside here. Now there is an access plate to get into the where the contact breakers are, etc. But it's such a faff to get through that plate to try and work on it. It's generally worth just taking the whole thing apart, taking the flywheel off and getting a proper look at everything. So that'll be what I do with that.